Hi guys, here's the small short tutorial about how to create player interactive animations in Cryengine 5 using just a pretty small and simple setup with a Mannequien and Flowgraph. And I'm not using any track view sequences, and this is not a cinematic. This is all done in game, and all that it's doing is just getting control over the entity. In our case, it's getting control over the player movement and its animation graph, and it's just playing uh, some animation clips on it. You can play any actually animation clip you want. In my case, I have set up pretty simple sequence of two short animation clips, and uh, they are already for the first person. So I have actually pretty interesting looking interactive action. And what I mean is just a simple example. So I have mine entity here, and I have just a proximity trigger around it. And as I walk into it, just watch what happens. Boom. And I have an interactive action playing, also some special post-process effects. And here it is. Uh, so what do you have to do actually for making such scene like that? Uh, I have a pretty simple setup here in the flow graph. So at the beginning of the game, I'm enabling the proximity trigger, and as I walk into it, I am actually detonating the mine entity. For some reason, I have to say that the default parameters of the mine are working pretty well, but the actually radius of this trigger or uh, whatever it is, and I hope this is the just area trigger as you walk. It's supposed to work like you were just walk straight into it and the mine will blow off. Um, but it's not happening. Uh, so I have a workaround with the proximity trigger. Um, Maybe someday Crytek can just look at it and maybe fix this entity. But anyway, it's just pretty easy to just use a proximity trigger and just a simple flow graph logic. All right. The main node here is the actor-player interactive animation. It's located here in the Actor tab, Play Interactive Animation. And you may just remember the Crysis 2 or Crysis 3. It has some interactive actions like opening the elevator door or opening the parking fence door. It was done in game, so it's not a cinematic. It's just a cool looking in-game interactive action. And what it's basically doing is just taking control over the entity. And in our case, the entity is the player itself. So with this interaction, we have no control over how we move or look around or shoot. It's just basically playing on the highest priority the animation that you choose, disabling all the control. So you just have to sit and watch this interaction playing. Uh, there is no actually documentation uh, about this node and how to work with it, but I figured out that the game SDK uh, that we have on a marketplace that is available for us has already some basic setup for this node, and it's done in the Mannequin editor. So if you opened up a Mannequin, you need to choose a context player, and here you can see you have a fragment group animation control. Here I have set up some basic um, interaction fragments, and all you have to do here, for the first time you will see that you have the SP, MP, and the default group. So it's like you were actually creating, for example, a new fragment entry, and you have the name default. Let me just delete this. What I have here is, for example, this fragment that you can see here with this animation. Again, there's the interactive animation plane. It has two animation clips in this, and these clips are located here in the anim layer. So I have the fragment and the name actually of interaction. It's a React explosion. This is the name of the fragment ID, and I have a special tags here. The first of all, animations. I just have an animation layer in the full body scope. The one animation that is actually playing the knockback of the explosion. It's just a standard animation that's located, as you can see, in male death explosion. And after that, I have another clip that is just basically playing how the player is walking up. And that's all. You can create as many clips as you want. It's just all about your needs and imagination. But here I doesn't change any of these parameters actually, so it's pretty simple setup. You don't need to do anything here. But for that you have to set up first the tag for the React explosion, and if you open up tag definition editor, you have here the tag definitions animation control tags XML. Here you can just click the new tag and create a name as you want, just a simple tag that's telling the engine what interaction name to play. I have some basic setups here that I was just playing around with. And after that, you have to actually make sure that you have the FP tag here, just a checkbox. It means, as I understand, this means that this is the first player or whatever. And you have to choose the action animation controlled here from the drop-down list. For my purpose, I have the React explosion, so I have to choose this name. Okay. And the last thing you have to check is the options of, or actually not options, but properties of this fragment ID, I should say. And this is done with the dialog of Mannequin fragment ID editor. You just have to click this edit ID and make sure that you have these flags enabled. So by default you will have the slave, chair and object enabled, but for some reason it's not working as I expected, so it's not actually taking the full control over the body of the player, so I have to disable it, and I'm not sure how actually to work with these scopes. So by default you just have the full body, torso, motion and full body third person and so on scopes. So, for example, if you want to work only on the first person camera, you just have to enable the first person scopes, and you can disable the third person. Alright, so you have a setup like this: animation control TFP and your name that you have in animation control tags. Then you have to just copy the name of this tag, create this actor player interactive animation node in Flowgraph, just copy and paste this name here, interaction name, and play it as you want. So I have a situation when I enter the trigger, I play this interactive animation. I also detonating the mine and making some adjustments with the post-process effects, and also hiding the HUD. Again, just to demonstrate this pretty simple example. Boom. And I have pretty interesting, cool looking setup. And that is. Hope you enjoyed this, guys, and if you need some more info, just PM me on the forums, or you can just leave comments on the forum topic. Also, I just want to point out that Cryengine have some interesting entity inside. You may just look into the entity player interactive. So here I just show you the setup, as you can use any entity or any setup you want and just play this interactive animation with whatever reason or setup you want. So you may maybe want to make the key. So for example, you press the button and you play this interactive animation, or maybe you just check some info and you play this interactive animation, whatever. It doesn't actually matter. But if you want more advanced and more interesting, more systematic, I would say, setup, you may want to look in the player interactive object EX. So basically, what it's doing, it has some setup for the interaction already built in. So just like it was here with the animation control, it has some tags here. It has some properties for the interaction radius and the model that you can use. And also it has the usable button and message, so you can actually just walk straight into it and use this object, and it will play automatically this interaction. But for some reason, again, this entity is not working properly, and I suppose it's just because it has no proper model set up for this. As you can see, it has no model right here, and I have to choose an object, for example, industrial elevator. Well, maybe like this. And if I just get this working, let me actually check if this is right. Okay, just make sure I have some message first of all. And this object there by default. Okay, so as I walk straight into this object, I can just press the button and it will start to play the animation. And as you can see, it's actually playing this interactive animation, but the object is not doing anything about this because it actually has improper setup with the character editor, the character tool. So as you can see here in the history, it says that helper on this interactive object, player align, not found. So it's default object location, and also it has no setup for Mannequin for this object. But again, I found out that in the Mannequin we have interact group, and we have the open elevator door here. And what it's basically doing, it has some state and the type of the animation. Type is again like before, it was just a tag that's telling me what name of interaction I want to use. And stance state actually, I suppose it's just for the state of the object itself, not related to player. Again, maybe we have to edit some properties of the object or whatever, but it has the procedural layer built in here, so it's just adjust target locator slave object, and again the simple animation. Okay, well, if anyone can help with it and make um, some maybe again a small tutorial how to use actually this setup, it would be cool. But I'm not able actually at this moment to set up player object interaction like this, so I'm using just setup like I was showing you in this tutorial. So just basically the entity, the proximity, and the flow graph logic. Alright, thanks guys, bye.